I just want to review what's happening with the Epstein files at this immediate moment. Listen to what Donald Trump said. This is a throwback.
Declassify the Epstein files.
Yeah, I would.
This is September 2024. Would you declassify the Epstein files? Yeah, I would. Right now, by the way, he's violating court orders. A law actually was passed to declassify all Epstein files. And they only declassified half of them. There are still 3.5 million files that have not been released by the Department of Justice. He's ignoring the law currently right now.
It's just very strange for a lot of people that the list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it.
So this is July 2025 for the audio audience. In September 2024, he said, yes, I would. July 2025?
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. That is unbelievable.
July 15th, 2025.
I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden,
And this is August 2025.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country.
Wait, was that Tim Apple standing there? It is. It's Tim Apple. Check that out. This is August 22nd, 2026.
It's a Democrat hoax.
I'm sorry, 2025.
History of our country. It's a Democrat hoax. It's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax.
September 2025.
Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends.
And this is February 2026.
A lot of women who are survivors of Epstein's are unhappy with those redactions that came out. Some of them, entire witness interviews are totally blacked out. Do you think that they should be more transparent?
They thought they released too much. Yeah, I heard that.
Nobody said they released too much. The Justice Department was given a list of names that they needed to black out. And instead of blacking out the names of victims who didn't even come forward, who hadn't even accused anybody of anything and didn't want this to be a part of their life, instead of doing that, the Justice Department released the list of names with the files. Literally the worst thing they could have possibly done. Tell me that wasn't intentional. The law was explicit. Black out victims' names, survivors' names, and tell us who the perpetrators are. They blacked out the perpetrators' names and didn't black out the victim or survivors' names. It has to be malice.
And you tell me something else. I think it's really time for the country to get into something else. Now that nothing came out about me, other than...
That's a lie. That's completely fabricated. All kinds of shit came out about him. He was Epstein's best friend for like 15 years or something. Not to mention Katie Johnson, the Katie Johnson lawsuit in 2016, 10 years ago. She sued him basically for doing some very, very evil graphic things. And the lawsuit explains it in great detail. And she started getting death threats. So she pulled the lawsuit. Trump is as evil as Epstein, in my opinion, and was involved in the whole operation. Why did Epstein victims turn up in Trump's beauty pageant? And why did Trump's beauty pageant Miss Teen USA, why did his beauty pageant girls show up in Epstein's, like on Epstein's island? Why did that happen if Trump was not involved? They were trafficking together, as far as I can tell.
There was a conspiracy against me, literally, by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
They just clearly are liars. They're like,
This is Jake Shields on the bottom. He's a Nazi.
Maybe get onto something else.
They just clearly are liars. They're like, regardless of what it is, they need to be arrested. Like, how is MAGA defending this? You could say like, oh, it's Pam Bondi, not Trump. Trump can fire her.
I don't know. This is once again, I don't know that there's that much MAGA left to defend.
Yeah, I think it is dying. And let's remember too, they're still withholding 3 million files.
The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. George Orwell. That's fascinating, right? What's even more fascinating is watching MAGA completely ignore the Epstein files. Like, there is MAGA left. And Lance Wallnau is an incredibly influential, extremely powerful, evangelical, MAGA Trump supporting nutcase. Listen to what he said about the Epstein files. This is supposed to be the pinnacle of moral virtue right here, right?
Bannon's a good guy. He was giving PR
Bannon is an Epstein client.
advice. Didn't have the full skinny on on the blackmail stuff that was going on with Epstein. And I think he should be given the benefit of the doubt, because if we keep on Candace Owens, we're creating a word for that, Candace Owenings ourselves, we're going to end up going down every absurd rabbit trail and find out that the left is going to beat us with a blunt object when it comes to midterms.
So you're willing to completely ignore the fact that Donald Trump is a pedophile who took advantage of young girls? You're going to ignore that so that you can win in the midterms? Is this what Jesus would want? Absolutely vile, evil, and disgusting. There is no bottom for these people. This is Rick Wiles. You guys remember this dude? He commented on the Epstein files. He famously a while back said the COVID vaccine was injecting a synthetic parasite, an egg, into your body that hatches into a synthetic parasite that turns you into, I don't know, a cyborg or something. Fascinatingly, he's also extremely anti-Semitic and a complete nutcase.
And our leaders are low-life scum that little girls. So the Jews can screw America. That's what's happening in this country.
Had me in the first half. Like I said, he's like incredibly anti-Semitic. He's just absolutely insane.
I just said it. That's what's going on in this country. And our FBI is corrupt. The Supreme Court is corrupt. The Justice Department is corrupt. The news media is corrupt. The whole country is corrupt because we've walked away from Almighty God and we've allowed Kabbalah practicing Jews to defile the nation. Put that video out. Go ahead and clip this video and send it out. I dare you.
Okay, I will.
You won't do it.
I did it.
Because you're scared that the truth may get out to the American people. I'm had it up to here with the corruption in this country. Little children being raped for the benefit of Israel.
Okay, again, I don't know where Israel came into the equation and why you're talking about Jews. Like, that was completely out of left field. But yes, I agree with everything else. They are corrupt to the absolute core, all the way up and down the chain. And guess what, dumbass? I've been saying that for 10 years. You got gummy bears in your ears? You're not listening to everybody around you pointing out how absolutely disgustingly corrupt Donald Trump is? How did you miss this? And you know what? Like, this guy doesn't have any room to talk here. The evangelical community, the Christian community has a problem with this too. It's not just Donald Trump or the Republicans. Watch. Google.com, youth pastor arrested. And I'm going to click the news tab. See what we get. Pastor's arrest renews calls for grooming legislation in Kentucky. News Digest, North Carolina pastor dismissed. Kentucky worship pastor arrested. Greenville youth minister charged after alleged sexual misconduct with minor. Meridian youth pastor sentenced to life in prison for sexual abuse of minor. I mean, we can keep going. Former worship pastor and American Idol contestant arrested in connection with wife. Okay, that's unrelated. The point is that the Christian community has a grooming problem, and it has for a very long time. Bentonville Church gave youth pastor unfettered access to minors before he was arrested. Meridian youth pastor sentenced to life in prison for sexually abusing teen girl. Former American Idol contestant, again, with the death of the dude's wife. Ex-youth pastor sentenced to house arrest after guilty plea for sexual abuse of girl. I mean, next page. Former youth pastor accused of sexual abuse now indicted in Braxton County. Youth pastor sentenced for a year-long abuse of minor. This is a problem that plagues Republicans and the right in general, and especially Christian churches. And it has for a long, long time. But tell me more about the Jews and about Donald Trump specifically.
That's all it's about, Doc. Little American children being raped for the benefit of Israel. American politicians raping little American girls to be videotaped by Israeli Mossad so that Israel
Oh, okay. I got it. I could not figure out what the connection was that he's making. He's saying Epstein was Israeli or Mossad or whatever. Okay, I think Epstein was just a scumbag at like a bare minimum and was trying to run a blackmailing operation by sending girls over to people's houses and stuff. That's true. But it's not like Epstein didn't have an interest in this or whatever. Like he was doing this because he enjoyed it, obviously. This is not like the Jews doing this. That's insane.
Can blackmail American politicians. That's the state of America today.
Like, why is he blaming the Jews for blackmailing politicians instead of the politicians who did this to children? I don't understand, like, why he's bringing the Jew angle into this. It's so confusing.
God ought to destroy this country for what we've become.
That was really wild to see. But you want to see something even more wild? I mean, MAGA is getting like mixed results with who supports Trump through the Epstein stuff and who doesn't. Rick Wiles obviously did not support Trump through it. Lance Walnut did support Trump through it, and Steve Bannon for other Epstein client, if you remember. Shane Vaughn also supports Donald Trump through the Epstein stuff.
Those 6 men whose names went into the congressional record, and Massey felt like a hero, he was a 0.
So if you don't know the story, there were a bunch of emails released by the Department of Justice from Jeffrey Epstein, some of which said really evil stuff like your littlest girl was a little naughty last night, or loved the torture video. And Pam Bondi redacted those people's names. So Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna went to view the Epstein files unredacted and got those people's names, the names that Pam Bondi redacted, 6 of them. The guy who said your littlest girl was naughty, that was Les Wexner, the owner of Victoria's Secret, I believe. And the guy that said loved the torture video was a prince in the United Arab Emirates and responsible for like 10% of the shipping that takes place in the world or something like that. Mohammed bin Sulaim, maybe, or something. That's good work. There is no downside to what Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna did, right? They brought a few, like 6 people to justice. They did not allow the cover-up of these evil scumbags. So what does Shane Vaughn have to say about it? He's got to be happy, right? Who wouldn't be happy about this?
Congressional record, and Massey felt like a hero, he was a 0. Because what you just did is you raped the Constitution as bad as Epstein raped his victims.
Okay, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Hypocrite.
You gonna explain? He's just gonna like swing his head around like he's angry? I don't understand. How could naming files who were previously being protected be as bad as taking advantage of a child?
Bunch of hypocrites is what you are. Those 6 men were victims, just as those pitiful young girls are.
I'm sorry?
And you're willing to protect one group while not doing the other.
They were victims? The people who said your littlest girl was naughty? The people who said I loved the torture video? The people who objectively, factually took advantage of young girls are also victims.
Hypocrites.
That was literally the end of the video. So the point is, there doesn't have to be logic here. They will defend Trump to the bitter end no matter what. And, you know, I knew that about Shane Vaughn, to be honest. This is also from Shane Vaughn, and he lays it out pretty clearly for us here.
We would never be this defensive of Donald Trump if you would not have forced us into this cult mentality.
It's your fault, you see.
Yeah, we would now fight for Donald Trump. Why? We believe in justice. And when we see a man that God's put his hand on being attacked night and day, you are forcing us to look like a cult. We're patient and steadfast in our support of a single man. We are cult followers. Yes, we follow a man. Yes, we do. We drank the Kool-Aid and it's orange.
It's our fault. It's me, you see. I did it. I pushed him into being a cult member. It was me all along. This dude is the king of placing blame where it doesn't belong. What an absolutely disgusting, wild thing to say. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. Watching the split in MAGA is absolutely fascinating.